Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Money Flow Market Newsletter. I'm your host, Dr. BJ Love, and I'll be bringing you this midweek brief outlook for Wednesday, 27, 2026 close. Now, for today, the market briefing, um, equities advanced modestly as geopolitical headlines drove a sharp pullback in crude oil. Reports that Iran is working toward a deal to end hostilities with the U.S. and reopen the Straits of Hormuz triggered a 4.7% decline in oil. The Dow Jones Industrial Average continues to grind to new highs, while the NASDAQ remains in consolidation mode as investors trim exposure to high beta tech. Market breadth improved on the New York Stock Exchange and remained mixed on the NASDAQ. Volatility continued to compress, with the VIX sliding to 16.29. Now, as we reiterate on each one of these broadcasts, that the critical threshold of 20 for the VIX remains intact. If we are below that threshold of 20, you have noticed over the past year that the market continues to grind higher. And if we are above that threshold of 20, the volatility heightens and the markets tend to go lower. So there is a inverse relationship. Now, gold fell 1.2% as silver weakened alongside crude oil. Bitcoin, however, held firm above 75,000. So for the index recap, we have the Dow Jones Industrial at plus 182.6 and it closed at 50,644. The S&P 500 added 1.24 and closed at 7,520. The NASDAQ shade off 18.55 points and closed at 26,675, while the VIX, as we forestated, uh, backed off 4.23% and to close at 16.29. Now, crude oil, again, declined 4.69% to close at $89.41 per barrel. We are now below that $90 per barrel price for the oil. Gold shaved off 1.18% to close at 4,449 and 10 cents. Bitcoin settled at 75,160. Now to move into our stocks that we highlight, stocks that we're holding right now in our portfolio. We like to highlight some of them that are doing well. One is ticker symbol BLDP. This is Ballard Power Systems. The stock is attempted to stabilize after a prolonged downtrend with improving volume pattern, hinting at early accumulation. And that's why we here at the Money Flow newsletter, we use tested, proven, and tried methods and indicators that helps us to stay on the right side of the market. And one of those things is that we watch the volume patterns that they indicate to us where big money is flowing. And that's what we like to follow. That is what given us the success that we are having right now. And also Nokia, ticker symbol NOK. Nokia is drawing attention as global telecom spending shifts toward next generation network upgrades and enterprise grade connectivity solutions. With geopolitical tensions highlighting the strategic importance of secure communications networks, Nokia remains tied to the broader macro narrative around industrial modernization. Now, here at at Money Flow, we like to say volatility creates opportunity, but for only those who are prepared. And that is what these broadcasts are for to our listeners, for our subscribers, is to prepare you for the opportunities that come as a result of the volatility that we are seeing. Now, these, as we get into the charts, uh, This newsletter is prepared for client distribution. This is not investment advice. It is for educational and informational purposes only. So now let's move into these charts. And as you can see from our uh, proprietary software that we use, if you've been with us for a while, you know that when you see a green background here, that is indicative. We're on a weekly chart here. That is indicative of a long-term uptrend. And as we can see here on the S&P 500, we have been in a long-term uptrend here ever since last year, starting at the week of 5/26/2025. For the past 8 weeks, we have been on a tear. Each one of these bars represent a week of trading activity. And for the past 8 weeks, we have seen an unprecedented move in the benchmark here for the past 8 weeks. We also have our confirming indicator. Again, like I said, here at Money Flow, we use time-tested methods and indicators that help us to stay on the right side of the market. It is positive, giving us a high probability that this uptrend, this long-term uptrend, will continue. As we see, we got a all new, what they call it, new all-time high in the S&P 500. Now, we know at some point this is going to have to turn around, but for right now, we're going to enjoy the ride. Here we see the same thing on the Dow Jones Industrial for the past 8 weeks or so. We have been in a long-term uptrend. We have a confirmed uh, indication here with our MACD that this uptrend, long-term uptrend, has a high probability of continuing, and we have reached an all-time high here as of this week. We're going to continue on with the NASDAQ, and as you can see, same type pattern for the past 8 weeks, especially in the semiconductor sector. We have been ripping toward new all-time highs, and we have our supporting indicator, the MACD, that this has a high probability of continuing. Now, nothing is guaranteed. We go by probability here. So we see that high probability. We have this green background. We have this positive MACD, and then we see that our price bars are above this rising moving average. That is our methodology. It's just simple. However, it is effective, and it has worked for us for years and years. Now, moving on to the small cap Russell, you see a similar pattern. We had a little bit of a back off, but however, the price bars remain above rising moving averages, and we do also have our confirming MACD here that this long-term, this is a weekly chart now, that our long-term uptrend is intact. Now, with that said, we can move on and look at our stocks in the spotlight. And mainly, we're looking at Nokia. And as you can see, this is Nokia on a weekly chart. How beautiful is that? This is textbook. We got the signal. This is a weekly chart here. We got the signal here on high volume. That is what we call elephant footprints. Big money always leaves evidence. So when you learn how to read price and volume and hear what we call relative strength, when you see a pattern like this, it is repeatable, and you can invest with confidence when it breaks out. So we had a breakout here back in September, and it has continued every week to go up, 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 and it follows our trend line here, and our trend line continues to rise, right? That's why we stay invested in Nokia, because every week we have an average volume of about, 199 million. But Nokia has been printed week after week after week, far above that 199 million into 646 million. So those are the elephant footprints that the big money or the smart money leaves. And we simply follow their trail. We don't try to invent the wheel. We don't try to guess. We don't try to surmise. We just look at the pattern. And because we have trained eyes, that pattern lets us know that we can stay in this particular investment until it changes. And nothing has changed since February when we first got in at that $6.5, $7 entry level, which has now doubled since we hit a high of $16.63 as of this week. The next one that we are investing in that we highlighted in the introduction is BLDP, which is Ballard Power. And as you can see, a similar pattern. It was going down, 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 and all of a sudden we have what we call a golden cross, where our shorter trend line trend line, or what we call our moving average, crossed over our longer term moving average. This is our whole threshold in the sand. This is our 34-week moving average. And as you can see, it was followed by major volume. The average volume for Ballard Power on a weekly basis is about 28 million shares traded per week. And we can see that it doubled, more than doubled, to 62 million shares traded per week. And then the following week, we had 77 million shares traded. And then the following, we had 75 million traded. And here we are right here on Wednesday, and we're already at average. And we have 2 more days of trading to go. So what's our takeaway? That we are still in a bull market. Breadth has improved, and we have our 2 stocks that we featured, BLDP and Nokia, that are doing well. We have one that has doubled, and the one that we bought, Ballard Power. Let's go back to it. Here we bought it on, this is the 22nd. Okay, we bought it on the 21st at $4.35. And as you can see, this is a daily chart right here. And you can see that the daily volume is just, oh my God, 6,798,000,000 shares, and it doubled on these days. It keeps doubling, and that pattern keeps staying strong. And we have here what we call our Fibonacci full stack. We'll talk about that later on, but that is the patterns that we look for. That is the daily, and here's our weekly. And not only is our daily and our weekly are moving in the same direction, we have a very strong uptrend, and also our relative strength keeps increasing. So that's it for this midweek. Again, we're just going to continue to ride the wave. And as we say at the end of each broadcast, every day and every way we get better and better. Every day and every way we grow more prosperous, successful, and victorious. And God's love continues to surround us, enfold us, and enwraps us. And we go forth in perfect peace and ever increasing prosperity. God bless. All the best from the whole team here at the Money Flow newsletter and broadcast.